Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be working on the Mini. As you can tell from the title, it didn't fail its MOT, but we're working on it, which means it didn't pass. So essentially what happened was I booked the Mini MOT in for Tuesday, just gone. It's now Saturday, and essentially it went in. I booked it for 4 o'clock, which was a massive mistake. I don't think I'll ever book an MOT that late ever again, just because you spend the entire day worrying about it. Went in for the MOT at 4, and by 20 past 4, National Tyre, who do all of my MOTs and other little bits, were on the phone saying that they've had to abandon the test. Now, I was with Owen at the time. We were getting some dinner. Obviously you'll know Owen from the channel. He's the MX-5 and the Fiesta and helps me out with the Mini and the BMW and everything else. So I was with him at the time and I said, abandon the test, and he went, oh, it must be really bad then. And they turned around and they said, well actually it's not too bad, but the car was leaking coolant everywhere, and for safety reasons they couldn't continue with the test in case it overheated. So we finished up our dinner, I went down to National Tyre, and the car was still on the hoist in the MOT bay at the back. As soon as I walked into the door I could see a massive puddle underneath the car. And I knew straight away that something obviously wasn't right, but I wasn't quite sure what, because it had been fine. I wasn't aware it was leaking any coolant, so I genuinely didn't know what the issue might be. But he basically said that the issue was something to do with the coolant system, and basically I need to get it resolved before it can go in for a retest. So the car didn't actually fail its MOT. The title wasn't clickbait. It didn't pass and it didn't fail. It hasn't been tested because the first thing it did was leak coolant everywhere, all over the workshop floor. So National Tyre, I'm sorry for that. But yeah, we've got to fix the coolant issue, which I think I know what it is. We've got a few other issues to fix, which he noted just in the small space of time between driving the car from the front to the workshop at the back. The issues regarding the coolant system, there's two. Number one is that the coolant system isn't bled properly, which has been caused by number two, which is that the overflow tank has split and the cap isn't threading onto the bottle properly. So to remedy that, I've bought a brand new aluminium tank with a new cap, and hopefully that should fix that issue and will allow me to bleed the system properly. This is what the new tank looks like. It's a bit different to the stock one, but it's got all the same bits and pieces, and it had really good reviews and come recommended by some of the Mini owners. Now on the short drive from the front of the garage to the MOT bay, the tester mentioned that the top mounts probably needed doing because it was making a weird clunking noise. I've had this noise for a while. I've kind of thought it's going to be the top mounts, but just been kind of putting them off because they're a bit of a pain to do. But I'm going to be doing them today, as well as some front and rear adjustable drop links, which I've been meaning to put on since I put the coilovers on, because as I've lowered the car, the drop links need to be made shorter. So these are the ones for the front. The ones for the back are still yet to arrive. That'll probably be the next video on the car. And it also needs some new tyres, which I've ordered and Owen's going to fit for me. So here is the current state of the coolant tank. As you can see, there's coolant all the way down the sides, and there's also some pooling on the heat shield down here. That's from when it was tested, and obviously it's overflowed, and that's part of the issue. So I'm going to be replacing that today, and then refilling and bleeding the system. Okay, so I'm going to start by removing this 10mm nut here. Then there's a hose clamp here, and there's one on the bottom as well, which I'll need to remove. But we'll take this nut off first, which will give us a bit more room. Okay, now that nut's off, let's pull that forward. I'm going to use these hose clamp pliers, which I'll leave a link to in the description if you're interested, to remove this. I can't recommend these enough. Not sort of sponsored or paid to say anything about them, but these are genuinely brilliant. There's a lot of different brands out there. These are just the ones I've got, and they work perfect, and it's so much easier than using a set of pliers. So if you're taking hose clamps off, definitely look at investing in some of these. Now there is 2 plastic inserts maybe on the bottom of this bottle, which hold into a little metal bracket which you have to pop out. A little bit stiff, but just wiggle it back and forwards and it'll go. It looks like I'm just going to have to remove the wire into the back of the coil pack. You have to wiggle that about a bit, but it does come out. And then there's another hose clamp on the bottom. And that is the old tank out the way, which has made way for the new one. So I'll leave a link in the description to this tank if you're interested. If you watch the video and you decide you want to buy it, then you've got a nice handy link to it. But this is the tank. The cap's over there, I'll show you that in a minute. But these are the little bits it comes with. So there's 2 washers, 2 hex bolts, and then a little black adapter which seems to slot in here. Don't really know its purpose, but we might find out. Okay, so number 1, we're going to hook this pipe up and we're going to slide the hose clamp back over it. That's on there good. We're going to slide this down. And we're going to slide this hose on. Now that hose is on, I'm going to pull the clamp up. Now both hoses are connected and tightened up, I'm going to chuck this nut back on. Okay, so the tank's secured in place. Put those 2 hex bolts in down the bottom. Bit awkward to get to, but managed to do it in the end. So now we're going to fill the coolant and bleed the system. So this coolant is ready to use, which means I do not need to mix it with water. Obviously just check which one you're using. Some you will, some you won't, but this one I don't. So let's get it in. Okay, so I've filled it till it's coming out of the tank. The system will have lost some coolant, obviously as it spilled all over the floor and everything. So I'm going to run the car now and just keep an eye on it and top it up as and when it drops. I'm having a senior moment. Can't believe that. Absolute fool. Now she should start. So I'm in a bit of a sticky situation. This happened when we changed all of the coolant pipes. Basically the system won't bleed up properly, so it's pressurising properly, I've left it running for ages, just trying to get the coolant to come out of the front bleed screw, and it just won't do it. I've even tried putting coolant into the bleed screw, which isn't something that is sort of what you're supposed to do, but it did seem to help a little bit, but I just can't get it to reliably bleed and put coolant out of the bleed screw reliably. It seems to work for a couple of minutes and then goes and stops working. Okay, so as you can see, coolant's bubbling out now. It's about ready to put the plug back in. It's coming out in a relative fast stream. We just want to make sure all of these bubbles go first. Once all them bubbles are gone, we should be good to go. So I've tightened up the bleed screw, topped up the expansion tank, and that all seems to be fine now. So I'm happy that the coolant issue is fixed. There's obviously a few more issues before we want to put it back through its MOT again. The tyres have arrived, the drop links have arrived, and the top mounts have arrived. I was going to fit the top mounts in this video, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do it in the next one. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're new around here, make sure you hit subscribe and go and check out my website, www.grindinggears.uk. Other than that, thank you for watching. Take care. See you in the next one.